Hi, and welcome to Let's Win XCOM Long War Project Nemesis. This is a patch update for my mod. So you can go ahead and skip this video. There will be no combat or missions or anything of tactical or strategic value besides me talking about what I've changed in my mod recently. So you won't miss any plot or action. What you will miss is a discussion of how I changed shotguns, though, so might be worth it. Alright, so let me get some of the miscellaneous changes out of the way before we tackle the main beast. Patch Tactical Sense Overhaul version 3.3 is finished and available in the Dropbox. 3.2 is still present. I'm going to keep leaving out you're going to have access to the previous items. Maybe I'll start hosting on Nexus mods. But the miscellaneous changes, I cleaned up some of the perk trees. I gave Gunslinger a 2 aim, stat boost to go with it. Gunslinger is now Avenger, so I cleaned that up. Avenger is plenty good all on its own, so no stat boosts for you. On the subject of perk changes, I've made some changes to infantry and assaults, all in the left column. For the assault, I put Gunslinger was here. I pushed it up here. It's now Avenger, of course. That's +1 damage with primary weapons, rocket launchers, mech secondary weapons, and all sidearms. So it also negates the long-range accuracy penalty with sidearms. So now running gun has always made what your sidearm was more important, especially if you equipped a shotgun. You wanted that long-range pistol sniping, which isn't possible in Long War without Gunslinger. But now Avenger includes that bonus. So this is the new beginning of a specialty. It goes into aggression. Previously aggression was way at the end, but I took out Bring 'em On, which we'll go over later because it's available on equipment now for assaults. So they don't have Bring 'em On built into their perk tree. You can get it fairly early in the game by building equipment. And I gave assaults Shredder ammo as a Master Sergeant perk to replace aggression, which got moved up. So Shredder ammo is the new perk for assaults. It's obviously incredibly powerful. There is an item that gives you Shredder, but it's only for beam and pulse weapons, and of course it doubles all your range penalties. Whereas this beautiful Shredder ammo perk is just going to function naturally with every weapon you carry. Plus, the Shredder effect that item gives you is only 1 turn. This is 4. So when you need to take down the big baddies, your assaults are there for you. It does reduce your mobility by 1 because shredding ammo is heavy. Shut up. For the infantry, the changes were in these 3 perks: Corporal, Sergeant, Tech Sergeant. These have been rearranged. Avenger is last, Sharpshooter is first. Of course, if you take a battle rifle into combat, it generally comes with Sharpshooter. So you can skimp on this if you only equip battle rifles or don't care for the bonus as much and go for something more interesting, like a light 'em up covering fire build with the battle rifles is pretty sick. So yeah, these 3 have just been swapped around in position. That's it. They were already here. So that covers perk changes. Let's get into the meat of it. The other miscellaneous changes I made are all of the platings will now give you a tiny bit of damage reduction. 0.1 for ceramic plating, 0.2 for alloy plating, 0.3 for chitin plating, which is enough to tip that low cover damage reduction into a guaranteed point reduction. Plus it stacks nicely with the armors that give you just a tad of damage reduction. So the plating items got a little bit better. And lastly, I added 1 point of damage, extra damage to HE grenades. They do 4 damage now instead of 3. They're just as cover destructive, but they're a little more damaging to your opponents. So that's that. So now the biggest change is rookies. Everyone can equip ballistic shotguns. Woohoo! The price that the shotgun pays for this is it has its base damage reduced by 2, but its aim increased by 12. So this makes it a more reliable weapon at close ranges, whether your opponent is in cover or not. It won't be doing massive damage, and its crits won't be incredible. It's now basically assault rifle equivalent damage, but much more likely to hit. It still has an excellent critical chance, 20%. So when you are flanking, it will be significantly deadlier than when you're not. But it is no longer the perfect one-shot item for taking out outsiders or two-shot. It might do it in 2 shots, but... Alright, so, before you start whining, I have modified the sawed-off shotgun. It is now the Cutthroat. It has a 20% critical chance instead of like 0 or something that base Longwar gave it. And it is basically a pre-patch 3.3 shotgun blast in a can. You only have 1 ammunition for it, and then you have to reload. But if you're dying to have that Tactical Sense Overhaul 3.2 shotgun shot to finish off the outsider in 1 hit with that 10 damage crit, here you go. You can use the Cutthroat. Now the sawed-off doesn't seem like such a waste. It is kind of heavy, but it's worth it. Also, if you're taking out those drones, you're going to want the Cutthroat, because damage reduction is now really brutal against the basic shotgun. Alright, so you're sad about the shotgun nerf. I have some good news for you. There is a Foundry project called Enhanced Ballistics. It lets you build a +1 damage to ballistic and Gauss weapon items that way too many people ignore. In my mod, I've spiced it up a bit. It adds 8% crit chance to all of your weapons, even if they're pulse or beam or whatever. It's called rangefinder extensions in my mod. And it now adds Killer Instinct when you carry it. So, if you have Run and Gun, which conveniently you get Run and Gun from the ballistic and the Gauss shotguns, then Killer Instinct increases your crit damage significantly, 50% if you don't have damage boosting items, a little less thanks to those not being part of that equation, if you do have Avenger or Vital Point targeting. So, to all of your attacks after you've activated Run and Gun, including attacks during the enemy turn, like Opportunist, if you are lucky enough to have that. So, Killer Instinct, so with the +1 damage to the Breacher, you bring it up to 5 base damage, and it was 6 originally. You get an 8% crit boost, which means you've almost got a 1 in 3 chance of critting with this. And Killer Instinct means that your crits when you use Run and Gun can be absolutely devastating. And of course you have Run and Gun because both the ballistics and the Gauss shotguns come with Run and Gun. So there you go. That should give you really nasty crits. Almost which should be, the critical hits should be equivalent to or better than what you were getting originally from the 3.2 shotgun. Additionally, there's an assault-only ammunition that you can build fairly early on in the game called Breacher ammunition. And what it does is it removes this poor penetration factor from shotguns when you have it equipped, meaning that damage reduction isn't boosted by 50% when you're using a shotgun against a damage-resistant target. So I thought that was a little lame, and I added Bring 'em On as the perk to that. Now, this perk will work with any weapon, not just shotguns, but with shotguns in particular, Bring 'em On does add 1 damage for every like odd number of enemies up to +4 damage that you can see when you get a critical hit. So the breacher's round should be much more tempting. It is assault only. It means assaults are king of the shotguns, because when they bring that, and if they bring the rangefinder extensions together, then you're going to have almost the same base damage you did. Your shotgun will be -1 damage. It will be plus 12 aim. It'll be plus 8% critical hit chance, and it'll do like ungodly critical hits that like only like fully ranked assaults could ever hope to achieve before this patch. I will also note that the flat cannon, which is the name for the Gauss shotgun analog in my patch, did get its critical hit chance boosted by 20% from 16 to 36% chance to crit, meaning that you're going to be critting every third shot or so against enemies that are in cover, and when they're exposed, it's going to be an 86% chance. And then, of course, you have the breacher's ammunition and the possibility of using the rangefinder extensions to enhance your damage, your crit chance, and your whole running gun shtick. So, all those potential perks added into the loadout, a little bit of power taken away from the ballistic and Gauss shotguns. The pulse and beam and plasma ones are unmodified, but a lot more of that power distributed into the loadout, and now rookies can equip these slightly less damaging shotguns, but higher accuracy, for a little bit more tactical usage for rookies, because before your only weapon choices were all rifle versions, so you had to fight at medium to long range or carry items or sit in the back. Now rookies have some of this awesome running gun action, at least in the early game, until you move up in tech and leave the breacher's rack behind. And of course, rookies have access to the cutthroat as well. So yeah, everyone has access to an executioner style sidearm. It will do fantastic amounts of damage against exposed, incredibly close targets. Like, it's got a range of 2 tiles max. Pretty much 1 is what you should count on. So that is the Tactical Sense Overhaul patch update. So version 3.3 is live and available. Feel free to partake. And yeah, that's it. Until the next episode, enjoy. Yeah, and I did make a call out to Reddit for playtesters, so I hope they're not going to be too disappointed that I instantly released a patch. I think it's pretty exciting, and thank you so much for anyone who's actually playing my mod. I will see you next time. Until then, game on. Hi guys, quick addendum to the patch notes. I went ahead, thought it over, and I did include Grenadier as a perk you can get from an item. I went ahead and reworked all the plating items. Here you can see the demolition rig. It still adds 1 health, it does add 0.1 damage reduction, and it gives you Grenadier. I also have changed the alloy plating item. It costs meld. It costs a little bit of meld, 12 meld, which actually is a significant amount, in addition to its normal cost. And it is now the, what did I decide to call it? Dun, dun, dun. Impulse rig, and grants adrenal surge, which, if I understand it correctly, when you get damaged, you'll get plus 10 aim and plus 10 crit. This is the first change that I suggest you play with red fog to balance this item properly. So I'm just going to go ahead and say that. It of course still gives 2 health and 0.2 damage reduction. Lastly, I have adjusted the chitin plating. It is now hybrid exo rig. It doesn't grant a perk, but it also has 0 weight, and of course gives you 3 armor 0.3 damage reduction and 3 willpower. Similar to how the trophy gives you willpower, I think wearing a dead chrysalid's bio-reshaped armor should be plenty to inspire confidence. A note about the demo rig, it does cost you, it is a heavier item with 2 weight, or it will have 2 weight when I change that apparently. Yeah, and that should let you bring double the destructive grenades at the beginning of the game, and of course that extra throw range will be the major benefit. Like, yeah, you could take 2 HE grenades, but you can get an extra health, a teensy bit of damage reduction, and 20% increased range if you brought HE in the demo rig first, at the cost of some movement. So yeah, that is just a quick addition. I hope you guys enjoy it, and I'm really curious to see if people will use the demolition rig late in the game instead of just completely ignoring ceramic plating like we used to. So that is it. Enjoy. Remember that the grenade throw range applies to all thrown grenades, though the extra charges only applies to HE, AP, and alien grenades. That's it. I will see you later.